Hey everybody, it's the Trout, and welcome to another episode of the Trout Show. Thank you so much for stopping by. You know, when I think about where country music originated, I always think of Nashville, Tennessee. And you may not know this, but country has become very popular all across the planet. There's some great country artists in a lot of countries you may not even think about. And today we talk to just exactly one of those. She hails out of the southern part of England, and her name is Helena Mace. And Helena's going to be talking to me about country music over in the UK, but more importantly, she's going to talk about her career, and she's been nominated and received the #1 country artist over there in England. And she's had to put up with a lot of stuff because of the fact that she had a brain tumor, she's lost a hearing in her ear, and it took her a long time to overcome all those problems to continue to sing and write her songs that she likes so well. So I think it's a very interesting story, and I think you will, about Helena and her overcome her problems and became a great country artist in the UK. And oh, by the way, she's coming to America later this year to perform. So up next, Helena Mace, the #1 country artist in the UK. That's next on The Trout Show. So let's start with you. So you've been doing this for a while, and I read about you as far as being country music. But tell me a little bit about, and this must be interesting for me. Country. Tell me a little bit about the country music scene in the UK. I mean, it's not, we don't think of it as that so much, but it's become very popular, hasn't it?
It has, yes. There's been quite a scene for it at the moment. There's a lot of doors opening for UK artists like myself, and we've suddenly had an influx of kind of British country music, and we've been getting people coming to America from the UK to perform, going to Nashville or to Texas, and it's just been brilliant because it's been really embraced over here. It's a long time coming, but there's some great music down here, and it's been lovely to be part of it.
And when you started playing, and we'll start at the beginning, so to speak, but when were you exposed, so to speak, where you started thinking, "Oh, I like country music from America"? Who was the artist that you said, "Oh, I like that"?
Well, I was brought up with it. My dad is a musician as well, and I was brought up with country music and
Ah,
also artists like the Eagles, Fleetwood Mac, as well as Dolly Parton, Emmylou Harris. My dad was a
mm,
big fan of all that. Yeah, so it was kind of always part of my life. I started writing country music about 10 years ago, and just sort of playing around with it. And again, once COVID came, I kind of took a step back a bit and then wrote some albums, started learning guitar better, and just built it up from there. So I'm now currently working on my sixth album, which is kind of country, Americana, even type of folk in there as well. So I'm quite
hmm.
influenced by several things. So to be honest, it's always been part of what I do and part of my life. I was brought up with it.
So if you could meet your favorite artist, who would that be?
Oh, at the moment, I would love to have met. I'd like to meet Don Henley. But I would also like to meet Dolly. I'd love to meet Dolly Parton. I've been a big fan since I was a little girl, and I'd love to meet Stevie Nicks as well. Again, big fan. Um, say I love Lady A. I love Miranda Lambert, as more modern artists, but I do like the traditional kind of older types,
Hmm.
such as Linda Ronstadt, Emmylou Harris, uh, that kind.
Were you when you started writing? I mean, obviously your dad. What does your dad play? Does he play several instruments, or what was his? Was he a singer? Did he play piano, guitar? What did he do?
Yeah, he was a singer, but he also plays. His main instrument was bass, but he plays
Okay.
acoustic as well. Yeah, so
And
he was from the '60s. He was
oh
doing
yeah,
music.
not a Beatles person. That's kind of interesting. Um, 'cause
I,
that's what
I love the
America's.
Beatles.
Yeah,
Yeah, I do love the Beatles. Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely do.
So did you start? Did you have play an instrument, or you just? I mean, I don't want to say just. Are you a singer? I mean, because obviously when you write, you got to sit down and do something with a piano or guitar or something.
Yeah, I've been a singer pretty much all my life, but I do play acoustic guitar as well. So a lot of my stuff is just written with my acoustic guitar, and then I have band members come in to add like the harmonica, lap steel, that kind of thing. So I play predominantly acoustic and a little bit of electric, but quite basic electric. But I love playing guitar. But I'm quite fairly in this. quite new to it, really, playing guitar. I picked it up when I was young, and then went for a teenage sort of stage where I didn't bother with it, and then started up again, started up again later on life. So better late than never.
The guitar is like any instrument. You never stop learning.
Yes,
I,
absolutely. You're
I've been
absolutely
playing
right.
for decades, and I think as you keep, I always think you get better if you don't give up, you get better. And performing live always it makes you better because that's just the way it always is. And
Yes.
if you don't play better, then people don't want to hear you. So when did you put a band together? So you had these songs. Did you originally when you recorded? How many albums you said you're working on your sixth? Is that what you said?
Six,
Okay,
yeah. I've
okay.
been on and off over the years, yeah. So the band has only been together, this band I'm currently in has only been together for just over a year. And we're coming out. It's only it's a three piece. We're a kind of acoustic style band, but we're coming over together
Oh,
in
so you
August.
bring the band with you. That's good.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. Yeah, I can't wait. We're very excited. But one of the band members who plays the kind of percussion, cajon, and harmonica is my husband, anyway.
Ah,
And my friend plays the bass. We're all singers. We have three-part harmonies.
cool.
So yeah, we're all doing my music. So it's just really exciting because I've never been to Texas, and I'm really excited about performing over there.
It's the place to be, as they say.
Can't wait. Can't
Well,
wait.
and you're coming in a time of year that won't be so hot. I mean,
Yes,
it could still be warm, but it won't be like it does in the summer. Um,
really.
because people come here and they go, I didn't know it was going to be hot. And I said, it's Texas. What did you think it's going to be? So it's your husband, because I was reading reviews on one of the tunes that you wrote, who played the harmonica on one of those songs. So that's
Oh,
him.
that was my other. Yeah, no, that's not my husband. He plays live. The other guy who plays on my, he plays live with us sometimes. He's called Cy Gennaro, and he's been playing harmonica for about 40 years, I think. Yeah, and
Oh,
he's
wow.
ridiculously good. Yeah, he's amazing. He's really good. So he plays on my records, but my husband learned harmonica over the last couple of years, so he's still in the learning process, but he's producing a great sound to go when we play live. So bringing him over, and again, just really excited about showing something maybe a little different. Because I sing my style of country music, but I don't have a country voice.
No, you
My
don't, and
voice.
that's okay. I
Yeah.
mean, there's a lot of
So
people
it's
that, if
super.
you look at country artists now, if you want to kind of ride the middle with a pop, a little bit, people don't care. I
No.
mean, the famous ones like Garth and people like that, and of course you mentioned Miranda a while ago, and of course Lainey's the big one right now. Everybody's hot
Yeah.
on her. Um, they're not twangy. I mean,
No.
and not like it used to be, but it still has that. Got to have your pedal steel, and you got to have your stuff in there, which makes it's like any other genre of music.
Yeah.
So when you put the band together, obviously, tell me a little bit about the places. Do you get to play around where you are now? Do you find it easy to get gigs, or is you have to travel, or what's it like?
We've been very lucky actually that we do a lot of local gigs and festivals. We're going to Liverpool next month actually, and we're doing Wales as well. So obviously over here we're quite small, so for us to travel isn't that
Sure.
far compared to
Yeah.
what it is over there for you. So we go to Liverpool, it'd probably take me a 3 hour drive.
Yeah.
So from south to kind of north.
Yeah.
And Wales is probably about the same. So I mean, I'm on the south coast, so I'm very near the sea. I'm quite pretty much the very bottom of the UK. So traveling isn't an issue for us. So coming to Texas, as you can probably imagine, is like superbly exciting because we've never done that before.
Well,
So we're all very
people
excited.
forget how big Texas is.
I know.
And of course, Alaska's the biggest state, but they forget how big Texas is because if you're down in the southern part where I was born and go all the way to the northern part, it's like a 10-hour drive. It's a long ways. It's like 800 miles, so it's a long ways.
Mm. Yeah.
And you go through a lot of different changes of geographic changes. Um, and when you come here, I think being that I'm a native, we still have the Texas attitude, and you really don't know anything about that until you get here.
Okay.
So people go, "Oh yeah, you're from Texas. We could tell." Historically, we're the only state that was a republic before it was a part of the United States. So we remind the rest of the United States that on a regular basis. And it's
Okay.
like, so they're a little egotistical. But we still have cowboys and
Yeah.
cows and
You have a lot of cows. Yeah.
rodeos and all that stuff still happens all the time here. And I live in the area, I live between, in a, I forgot how many people live where I live. I live north of Dallas. There's 7, 8 million people. I don't know. But
Oh,
if the thing that's different now, you're going to be in the eastern part of Texas, which has a different accent than the center part of Texas. They have a different accent.
okay.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
But here, just to give you some interesting perspective, Dallas is very cosmopolitan, like New York, LA. Fort Worth is very cowboy. It's
Okay.
more cowboy. And over there, everybody likes to say I was born in Texas and all that stuff. Over there, they ask you how many generations you are. You know, I'm fifth generation Texan. Oh, okay, that's really, that kind of thing. But the one thing you probably will pick up on, and it's a little bit like the Brits, um, very nice people,
Good.
respect our elders. You're going to hear yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, um,
Yeah.
and y'all.
Yeah.
That's one of our best words that we ever came up with. Y'all want to do
Oh,
something?
okay.
You want to do something? So what? So how did you find Preston and getting to come to Texas to Marshall in October? How did that all come about?
And he found me actually. He found me online. Actually, a few years ago. It was back in 2019, and he'd picked up on me then, and he'd contacted me about coming over that year. But I hadn't been very well. I had to have radiotherapy on my brain.
Mm,
So I wasn't allowed to fly for a while, so I couldn't come. And then obviously COVID hit. So of course it was out of the
yeah,
question then to travel.
yeah.
So then he picked up again this year. He said, "Now you've got your band. Would you be able? You're well enough to come back out?" And I said, "Actually, I'm allowed to fly now. So yes, I'll be there. I'll do everything I can to get out there." And we got a sponsor for our
Oh,
band,
that's
which is how we
great.
can. Yeah, otherwise it would have been difficult, as you say.
Oh,
Travel's
yeah.
expensive, but we got a sponsor, which was a very generous person, and
So is it an
it's like I've
individual
had a
or a
second
company?
chance.
Is it an individual or a
No, it was
company?
actually it was actually someone from the church. My bassist, his local church, had seen it online that we wanted to go. We weren't expecting to. And she said, "Look, we like to give people opportunities. This is an opportunity you should have. And we'd like to fund it." So it's just so
You're
generous
like,
and
okay.
kind. Yeah, absolutely. So
Hey, y'all, we're ready to
yeah,
go.
thank you.
Well, that's
Thank you so
wonderful
very
because I
much.
know how expensive it is.
Yeah,
And I just had some friends of mine, they're from India originally, but they just go back and you can get a direct flight from Dallas to India, but they were saying there's so much more. They could
yeah.
stop on the way, like in Fort Worth, excuse me, in New York, and then it's cheaper. And
It is.
because,
We're doing two flights because it's cheaper that way.
so,
But
but
on the way
you
there,
drive up to London, you'll go out of Heathrow, I imagine, or
yeah,
Gatwick, one of the two.
Heathrow to Dallas, then we drive to Marshall, and then on the way back we go from Dallas to New Jersey, New York,
Newark.
and then fly to Heathrow. Yeah, so it's all an experience, and it's like I've had a second chance to be able to come out really because I didn't think I'd be able to fly for some time. And after being ill and having the radio treatment on my brain, I lost all my hearing on one side.
Oh,
So I've had to readapt to that as well. So to be able to get a second chance to come and do it, it's just yeah, it's amazing. It's an opportunity that I can't pass up, and I'd love to come and meet everybody.
I think, sometimes I think life is tough. But then if you get back and you sit back and you go, okay, I didn't like where I lost my hearing, but I have an opportunity now to play in front of people I never did think I'd get to play.
Yeah,
Who
and
knows?
that's
That may have
something.
never happened if you never gotten sick. I kind of believe in people having a chance and doing things like that. And you get to
Yeah.
play, how long you get to play? 30 minutes, 15? I always forget how many,
It's only about 20 minutes, but
20
we get the
minutes.
experience everybody else from around the world doing things and just being part of the culture and just going somewhere we've never been before. I've been to America, but that was always the touristy, like Florida, I've been to Disneyland and all that. I've never actually seen, a place like Texas. And to be able to come out there and actually play is something for us, it's very special. We live in a very small place down in the south of the UK. There's only There's not many people live here, but it's we love it. We have it here. To come to Texas is complete culture difference. For us, it's going to be exciting, and just to be part of something like the International Sound Awards, and meeting other people that will be playing too from all around the world, and being doing their own music as well. It's nice to hear new music and people that do what I do, but in just different places.
Well, and the other thing is you're not really competing with them.
No,
I mean, you're down in South England, and then you've talked to somebody from Buenos Aires. You're not competing, you know. And
no,
I think the other part of it is you get to meet people that do what you do, but also they become friends because then you have an opportunity to meet people,
yeah,
musicians that do the same thing. And you probably already know this. Everybody has the same problems. Doesn't matter
yes,
where you're from. Everybody, if I talk to somebody in India or talk to somebody from Malaysia and you start talking about band, it's all the same issue. Trying to find
yes, they are.
gigs, trying to do
Yeah,
this, doing that. I want to get my new recording. I think the big difference though now than it was years ago is people can share their music online because everything's digital.
yes.
And I talked to one of the people that came to Marshall a couple years ago. She's from Malaysia, and she mastered it over in South America. I don't remember what it was. I said, "Did you go over there?" No, no, no. I just sent them the stuff, and they did it, which is really nice.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
You got a platform, haven't you, that you wouldn't normally have,
yeah, and
and
you get
so it's
people that, yeah, and you get a side, note from the producer that you never, I've been asked to produce in different parts. I go, I'm not flying there. If you want to pay for me to get there, that's one thing, but I'm
yeah,
not, it's another thing.
yeah.
You talked about your dad. Did he play out a lot? Was he a performer that, is that what he did for a living, or did he do that on the side?
He did it as well as work. He's a writer. So he used to write stories, ghost stories, actually.
Oh, cool.
He's a Yeah, he was a writer and published poet, and also did just normal jobs, just to do what you can to get by. So back in the 60s, he had a van with his typewriter in it back then, and all his gear. And he only lived on the Isle of Wight. The Isle of Wight.
Yes, I
It's
know
an
her.
island,
Yeah.
yeah. So he gigged all around there, but he was, places like the Isle of Wight Festival, and some very well-known venues that were very big in the 60s, where people like the Who would come down and play on the island. The Rolling Stones, it was a place, it had such an amazing
Yeah,
music
it
scene.
was. There was a lot of people played there. Yeah.
Yeah. So he was part of that in the 60s and 70s before I came along. And I think he did it into the 80s as well. But I think the stories he told from the 60s and 70s, there was a quite lively music scene, and you can imagine what it was like back then. So it's always interesting to know. And as soon as I was born, they used to do gigs, and they used to just put me in my carry cot and take me with them.
Well, I was going to ask you, so you got to go along with him when he performed. So you
Yeah.
come from a creative person. I mean, a
Yes.
writer and a songwriter and a musician, and
Yeah.
I think that makes a difference to a certain degree because you're exposed earlier. My parents were not musical at all, um, but I only had one grandparent. Then she played piano a little bit, but that's it. So I didn't have
Okay.
anybody in my family that was really into music like I am.
Yeah.
And I think when you're exposed like that, I'm trying to remember who I talked to earlier. I talked to somebody else that was traveled with their parent as they went around and performed. And that exposes you because you already know what it's like.
Yeah.
It's yeah, it's new, but it's not. You already know what's going
Yeah.
to happen. It's like this is what's going to happen and all that stuff. And we're going to get up here, we're going to set up the equipment, yeah, I did, yeah, we're going to do this. People will clap and hopefully they like us.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah. It's good. It is good to now be part of it myself, because now my dad comes to my gigs with me. So when we do festivals like in Wales and that, I bring him along. So because he doesn't do it anymore, he still writes, but he doesn't play live. He's got arthritis in his hands, so
Hmm.
he struggles to play guitar now. But he still fiddles around at home doing it, and he still writes stuff. And in fact, a couple of my old albums have got a couple of his songs on there, which I've recorded.
That's cool.
Um, yeah, some that he wrote before I was even born. So it's nice to have him as a part of it, because obviously he's been influenced me throughout my life, and to be able to give back, and he loves it. He loves coming along. He's 76 now. He loves coming along to gigs with me.
Well, and he can do those things like when you're up there singing, going, I wrote that song. Hey, I wrote that song. She's doing my
He's
song.
like, yeah, that's my daughter. Yeah,
It's my song.
that's it.
So you're working on another album, but do you record locally or do you go other places to do your recording
I
when you
record
start working?
locally.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Yeah, I have a guy called Matt who I've been working with for since 2015, I think. We've got a very good relationship. We know each other when it comes to the music. He knows what I like, what I want. When I say I go in there with my guitar and say, look, I've written this. This is how I want it. This is what I want added, and we work together. And it always comes out, brilliantly. Yeah, it's just nice to work with someone that you can trust. And the musicians I use are all people I know very well. And yeah, it's just such fun doing it. We're nearly there, actually. The album should be finished in the next 2 weeks. So very excited, and I'm hoping to get it out late July. So I'll send you a copy.
Oh, sure. Thank you. Well, and
Absolutely.
the trend now is to not release everything at one time.
Hmm.
Everybody's doing one song at a time. And my last album came out on February 1st, working on my next one, which is one song away from being finished. And I talked to some very, very well-known artists, and I'll say, "What do you?" Well, I just finished talking to one not too long ago, very well-known blues artist, and they promote it a lot, but then they
Yeah,
just start releasing one song at a time. But you're very familiar with the business, so if you're not if you're doing it for a living, you have to tour.
yeah.
That's all you can do because you can't. People still talk to me about streams. I just said I don't care.
No,
Because I mean, if you, oh, look, I got 1 million streams, and how much did you get for that?
hardly anything. Yeah,
It's hardly anything. If I'd sold 1 million albums, you would have bought a new house. But it's just the way it is. So you
yeah. I
have to
still put my
tour.
stuff out on CD. Yeah, you have to tour, and I still do CDs. I still do the
And I had
CD.
this conversation with people that CDs are real popular in Europe still,
Yeah, they are.
but
Yeah,
I met a country swing artist when I met Lyle Lovett, and he was standing there talking, and because I had friends in the business, and he said, "Well, here's my CD." And I played it, and I go, "Oh, that's really cool. It's country swing, which I mean Texas swing, what they call Texas swing."
yeah,
Well, and he had a full orchestra going on. I go, "Who did all this?" He goes, I'm an orchestra leader, and I do." I'm going, "I did," and he's got, of course, the cowboy hat on and everything. And he's not to dwell on this, but he now what he's done is he's put together this album that he goes out and hires. He goes out to orchestras and symphonies, and they play the music, and he plays the Texas swing, so he can kind of go around to bigger cities because
yeah.
he was like the director of the Fort Worth Symphony or something too, and he's a phenomenal musician.
He's
He's one
amazing. I
of the
saw him a few years ago.
and you listen to it, but I think the other thing, like you mentioned, is you don't have to spend an arm and a leg to go record anymore.
No,
It's not, if you want to go to a major studio, it's still going to cost you a lot of money, but still
yeah.
doing what you're doing is easier. And then you're in an interesting situation too, because what I discovered over in your country is there's a lot of festivals,
Yes, there
and
is. Yeah, there's lots of
there's a
them.
lot, which is great for you as a performer.
Yeah,
Because the lady I talked to the other day, she's literally just kind of starting out. She's been doing it for a couple of years, and I'm going to go play a festival here, I'm going to play a festival there. We have a lot of places to play, but they're not the same. So, and I think that, and I really believe this. I may be completely wrong, but I think people are more accepting you over there because they're used to the festival atmosphere. You
yeah.
know,
They're brilliant. Favorite places to play as well.
Yeah, so I mean, you walk on stage, it's like, okay, who is this? They're not expecting, you mentioned Fleetwood Mac or whatever. They're not expecting that. They're expecting a local performer to perform, which really is great for you because then you build up your fan base, people that like you, and then you just kind of expand it from there. So when
Yes, yeah, you're right.
you bring out your music, which I've seen you had several albums that we talked about, but what do you do? I mean, do you have PR people? Do you go out and hit radio stations up, or how do you market it? I mean, other than
Uh,
playing it obviously when you're playing live.
Play, yeah. I basically over the years I've collected a database of radio stations, and I've got a lot that are quite supportive and have been playing me for a very long time. They'll play anything I do, so I do it all pretty much myself. And I enjoy doing it. I mean, sometimes it's a bit of a slog, but because
Mhm.
there's lots of them. But I've had the BBC play my stuff, I've had videos on Sky TV, and I've been really lucky to be able to have some loyal supporters that actually enjoy my music and they're happy to play. And they'll ask me when my next song's coming out, and that's just incredible. And they go from small stations, chat shows, internet stations to sort of slightly bigger ones. And I find that I like the internet stations because you get played in countries you'd never even think that you'd get played. There'd be
True.
people that I had quite a lot of plays in Finland, and I've never sent my music to Finland before. And it's just, well, they're hearing my music, and it's because of the internet and social media that you get
Yeah.
to send your music or get your music played in places you would never even dream about. So it's great, and I quite enjoy that side of it, and I like seeing where it's been played. And yeah, Spotify's a pain because you don't get paid much for it, but
No,
it's
none of them do.
I'd rather just do the old-fashioned way and tour it and give people CDs, But you have to go with the times, so to speak.
When was the first song? How long ago was it you first heard your song on the radio? Your very
I
first
heard my
time.
one that I'd written myself was on. Actually, I was very lucky. I got my first song played on, well, firstly, a very local radio station, New Forest in the south. And we'd been for an interview there. And as I was leaving, it was I put the radio on in my car, and they played my song, and that was just the most bizarre experience. And it was just so good, and they still play it now. They were the first to play, and I always make sure they're one of the first to get my new music because they've been so supportive for so long. And then I think the BBC picked up on BBC South, and then I got play over there. So hearing it on the BBC on the way to a gig was just incredible. So I'm always, even though I've released quite a lot of music, I'm always so excited even now when I hear my song on the radio because I think, oh, who else is listening to it? Do they like it? Are they enjoying it? Have they sort of checked all my other stuff out? And I just find it really exciting because you don't know. You never know who's
Hmm.
listening. And I just hope a couple of people enjoy it, and they seem to. They seem to like what I do. My stuff's quite melodic. Say I'm very influenced by Fleetwood Mac, and I love that kind of melodic sound. There's a lot of it's not only country. There's some typical country stuff on there as well on my albums, but there's also some very sort of quite deep folk stuff. My dad writes folky type music, so it's really nice to be able to get all that and put it together and have my own sound. And that's what I try and do. My voice is different to others. It's not a traditional voice, which took me a while to get used to because I thought, oh, I don't sound like this, I don't sound like that. But I think it's actually gone in my favor. So I like to think so anyway. So it's
That's
just really,
that's the
it's
hardest
really
thing
cool.
is hearing yourself recorded
Yeah, I didn't
because
like it first of all.
no, we most people don't, and you just realize that's what people hear. When you're
Yeah,
talking and you hear yourself back, that's what people hear. They don't hear it because it's like your brain and I mean all your acoustics in your head and all that stuff. But you're talking about Fleetwood Mac. Most of their stuff was relatively easy. It wasn't real fancy. I mean,
yeah,
obviously when my Lindsey Buckingham started playing some stuff that was really, I mean, he's a great guitar player, so he put some pretty
yes.
sophisticated stuff together. But most of his stuff was easy riffs that they played. Wouldn't you like to tap into those people, listen to your songs in different countries, and say, "Tell me what you think"? Not
Yes.
because not did you like it so much, but tell me what you think about the song. Because the one thing that always amazed, I've gone now from doing only instrumentals. That's all I'm doing now. Um,
Okay.
and it's amazing to me what people, because I write a rock song and I'm singing it. I know what they're going to say. Oh, it's a rock song and I'm singing, like that. But when you start doing stuff different, it's amazing to
Yeah.
me what people hear. They'll say,
Yes.
"Oh, that sounds like," and you're like, "What?" So I
Yeah.
bet you would love to tap into people in Finland and go, "Okay, tell me why you like this song."
Yes, I
You
would.
know,
I'd absolutely love that. I'd love to know what people think. Hopefully all good. But even constructive criticism is good as well. And I like to think that I try and bring out something a little different, something that people can relate to. I've written about things I observe over the years, other people, my life. Having a tumor in my head, I wrote about the journey with that.
mm,
I've written about the music industry. I've written, just all sorts of scenarios I like to observe, and I just write things down, scribble it down, and eventually, I love seeing it go from that to an actual production. Thinking I wrote that came from my brain, my soul, so to speak, and it's really nice to see how it develops. And then you hear it on the radio, and then you play it live. Like I come to Texas and I'm going to play them live, and it's like, well, that's weird.
mm.
That's
Well, it
weird.
is it is a weird thing to write a song. It is a bizarre
Yeah.
thing. Do your kids like to actually come and see you perform, or it's like, I've seen her before. I mean, obviously she gets to go to Texas. I'm sure that's why she wants to go. But does she get
Absolutely,
to
yeah.
come to your gigs, or does she go to very many of your gigs?
She used to, because again, I did pretty much what my dad did with me. So when she was very small, I took her to gigs, and she loved it. She'd make friends, give her lemonades and crisps, and she'd be quite happy sat there. She'd dance, and she even got up and sang herself once when she was about 7. And then she got to the teenage years, and then everything
Yeah,
was hugely embarrassing.
yeah.
So at the moment, no, but she knows what I do, and she's like, well, my friends' mums know your name, and it's embarrassing. And I'm like, yeah, well, it's okay. You won't be embarrassed by it forever. And so we're
You
coming
know,
through the other side now. She's 18, so
no,
she's
they'll
not.
change as they get older. They go because it's like, here's what I know would be funny to me is if you became really famous and started making a lot of money. She'd be going,
That
that's
would
my
be,
mom
yeah.
up there.
Yeah. She did say last year, because I was very lucky to win Country Artist of the Year,
I
Female
did
Artist
see
of the
that.
Year.
That was really cool.
Yeah, I
Congrats on
won it, and
that.
I got a text from her saying I'm proud of you. So that was quite a moment. So
That's
we
all you
go.
need. That's all
Yeah,
you need.
yeah, that was all I ever heard, but that was enough. So that was good. So she's obviously not that embarrassed about me now.
No, is that your new car you're driving, Cassidy? Yeah, my mom got me a new car.
Yeah, maybe one day. Maybe one day.
And she's paying for college, my university, yeah, whatever. She wrote into the
Yeah,
song, made $1 million, whatever. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think and it is funny though. Some of the people I've talked to that are very well known, I'll ask when they go, "Do your kids come?" Oh no, I gotta watch TV, Dad. I've seen you before. Who
no,
cares? And other people like I died to just meet that guy or whatever. So
yeah, because to
you,
you, to them, you're just mum or dad, aren't you? They don't
yeah, I
see you
mean
like
that's the
that.
way
You're
it
just mum and
is.
dad. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, we talk about politics all the time, and people talk about Trump's kids. It's like it's mom and dad. That's
Yeah,
it.
it is.
Well, he's the
That's
president of the United
yeah.
States. Yeah, so he's my dad. Who
It's not,
cares?
yeah. Very true. Very true. It is funny.
So
Kids are strange. Teenagers are a strange bunch.
well, and when they get in their 20s and they start getting, they go through that phase, and then all of a sudden they become smart and go, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And of course, then they go off and they have to have a job. And I told my granddaughter, she's 20, and my grandson just graduated from high school. I've taught them both. I said, "You're not going to believe this is the easiest part of your life right now. I know college is a pain. I know it's
Yeah.
hard, but not till you get out. And when you get out, that's when you go like, well, I wish I was in college again. Yeah, yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's
So,
different here, I think. Yeah.
well, I mean, yeah, it's the same everywhere to a certain degree.
Yeah, to a certain extent. I mean, they finished it earlier. I think they're younger because my daughter's just finished college.
Oh, wow.
So she's doing what they call apprenticeship. So she's working with kids at the moment.
And what does she want to
Um,
do?
at the moment, she's not really sure. At the moment, she's doing being a early years kind of nursery nurse. So she's working with toddlers, which can you imagine is quite hard work
Oh,
and very
yeah.
loud. I couldn't do it personally,
No, I
but
couldn't do it.
she's doing that. Students like it. So, I think the school here, I think they finish earlier, younger here, because it's like when I left school, you could be 16, but now they put it up to 18. But you
Oh,
can go
wow.
college and finish at 18, or you can go to university and then carry on a few years more, up to about 21, I think.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's slightly different over here. So it's yeah, you get out and you get into the wide world and just see where you go. I think you've got to try different things, haven't you?
Well, and you're in a country, like you said, I have people that go over there. I know people tour over there all the time in Europe. They like it. It's expensive, but they like it because, like you said, you don't have to drive very far.
No.
You go one town and, you're not driving 600 miles to get to the next town to play the next day. It's an hour and a half away or 2 hours. It's a short
Yeah,
drive.
yeah.
And,
Sometimes
and
longer, but even that, it's still you get a few miles done over here. We're very small.
yeah, and I talked to one last year. It's a band out of Ohio. They travel to Europe all the time. And I said, "Do you like going?" He goes, "I'm a history buff." So
Oh,
he said,
okay.
"I get to go see all the old buildings." He said, "Oh, the band is like they're in bed relaxing. I'm walking around the cities looking at
Yeah.
old buildings and studying them." And he said, that's like a vacation for me. He said, "This is a double vacation. I get to come perform, and then I also get to enjoy what I do for fun." And
We have a lot of history. Yeah, I mean London and places like that. We've got some amazing buildings and history there. My dad's also a history buff. And I remember when I went to Florida. I think it was the second time I went to Florida. There was a lady there, and she'd heard that we had English accents, and she's like, "Oh, I love it. I love England. I really want to go. It's one of my bucket list, to go." We were like, "Oh, okay. Why?" And she said, "Because I love history, and you have so much of it there." Yeah, because we don't think about it. We're used to it, I think.
no.
Yeah, you don't
Well,
take you take it
it's
for
like I
granted.
always said, people from America go to the UK, to see the old buildings, people from London to come to America to see the new stuff because we're
Yeah,
newer.
yeah.
It's like you're 250 years old. Oh, that's a joke. My house was built in 1615 or something like that. And you're like that. So
There's a lot of
it's
those.
kind of
Yeah,
like that when people go and they go there and they come here and all that stuff. And I talked to a British performer the other day and I said, that was great. Just start talking and people just come up to you and go, "Could you keep talking?" And then you're like,
yes,
"Why?" And because I love your accent.
yeah,
And you're like, "I have
yeah,
one? I have one? I really
yeah.
do." It's like,
Yeah, you don't hear it yourself. You're just used to it, aren't you?
well, and then of course your country has different accents. So we were talking about Liverpool,
Yes,
Liverpoolian versus,
yeah.
all that. And so when you come over, how long are you going to stay? You going to come
We're
over
staying for a
for,
week.
I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah, we're coming on the 30th of September, and we fly back overnight on the 7th. So we land at Heathrow on the way back on the 8th of October. So
Fly overnight. I think you don't you get over there in the morning. And then you get back in the morning, I think is what, or I don't know.
yeah, I think so. I think we land at Heathrow at like 6 in the morning
Yeah.
UK time, which is good because I only live about an hour, just over an hour away from Heathrow Airport. It's not far. So it's actually a decent airport and it's easy to get to. So hopefully, and it's early in the morning, depending on how long it takes us to get out of the airport, which is usually pretty good, to be fair. We should be home a decent time. Just try not to sleep until nighttime to get over the
That
jet
was what
lag.
I was told when I started touring. When I went on trips. People told me you had to immediately go to the time that you're in.
Yeah,
Because for me, it's
do
easier to
normal
go
things.
east than it is to go west.
Okay.
Because, when you go, like if I go to Hawaii, they're 5 hours behind me, like I am right now, I'm 6 hours behind you. You
Yeah.
get there and then it's like, why am I up at 3 o'clock in the morning? Well, because it's not 9 o'clock, and that's
Yeah.
going east. You may get tired, but you can get acclimated. And about time you get acclimated our time, you'll be going back.
Yes.
Because
You get used to it. It's time to go home. Yeah.
and
That'd
you'll
be
be
typical,
back
wouldn't it?
going, what day is it?
We'll be
I
fine. Lots of
forgot.
coffee. We'll be fine.
Lots of coffee. That's one thing we have plenty of places to get coffee in America. That's a
That's
big
good.
thing.
That's good.
Lots of
Yeah.
places. So when you come over, um, that gives you about what, 5 tunes you can play, 4 or 5. So I assume you'll rehearse those till death, and so you have to be. I think the hardest thing about what you're going to do is you want to be really good, but not over polished.
Yeah.
You have to be relaxed, but also, in my opinion, it has to be second nature when you're performing it. And you have so
Yeah.
much time now to get it ready and do all that stuff ready,
Yeah.
and you already know what people like. That's the other thing about you. You can do the festivals and see what people like. If you can tell.
Yeah. I think
Eh,
so. And it tends to we see what goes down well on that. But some of the stuff I think we've kind of decided what we're going to play, and we've been playing them a while over here, so we should be pretty spot on. We're hoping with them. But it's our sound is not polished. It's very rustic. It's very relaxed and acoustic. And we all sing, so we got 3-part harmonies, which we love to do because I think a good harmony sounds great.
I love three-part
So
harmony.
yeah, we're recording. I'm sorry, we're going to be rehearsing and sound checking on the day we're performing because we don't know what our timetable is yet
Yeah.
because Preston's putting together. Obviously, it's over 3 nights, I think. And I'm dying to go. I want to go horse riding. And I found a place in Marshall that does horse riding. So I'm hoping to get some downtime. So I've always wanted to Western ride. So hoping to do that and have a little bit of explore. We want to go to Lake Caddo, I think it is, which we're
Hmm.
wanting to go near there. So we're going to try and get some downtime as well as see the performances, and then there's like an awards kind of thing
Yeah.
the day before we fly back. So that'll be all saying our goodbyes, and then hopefully we'll come back full of stories and
Oh,
very
you will.
content.
Well, it's
So
been a
yeah,
pleasure, Helena.
and
I
you,
get it
thank
right.
you.
And I look forward to seeing you and look forward to hearing your new music.
Yes, thank you so much. I really appreciate
All
you
right.
having me and
You have a
taking the
great
time to
evening.
see me.
We'll
And
see
you,
you
take care.
soon. All right.
See you
Take
soon. Have
care.
a good day.
You too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
She saw him in a corner of a dead-end bar. The floor was dirty and the drinks were hard. Looked like it was from a cover of a magazine. His hair was long, eyes as black as night. A look on his face, a story of life. Saw right through her in this beat-up place. If you're at a loose summer